the interface for asset management or any other kind of property management, facilities maintenance management, or even construction or inspections out in the field, and also for any kind of other field data collection. So this has got some modules, as you can see, like 6 modules here, and we have additional modules which we have not loaded for just this demo. So the basic modules are work request, work order, time card, and users. And the advanced modules are dashboard, reports, and inventory and inspections that you don't see. We have many other modules that can be added. So the workflow is any problem first gets reported as a work request or a service request. And this can be a local government, a municipality, a state, city, county, or a property management company, or building maintenance organizations, or any other kind of construction portfolio, construction management. It can be in office, it can be in field, it doesn't matter. So the systems, a little background on the systems, we support Android, iOS, and Microsoft. And we extend that to the desktop and laptops in the office, but the architecture is core mobile architecture so that it's most efficient in the field. Anyway, whenever a complaint is reported, first of all, it becomes a service request or a work request, and you can click on that module to get into the work request listings or any other kind of maps related to the work request listings. So you will get a tabular view, like a list view of all kinds of work requests. You can click for more. The most recent is up there. It's color coded. Red is urgent and blacks are not urgent. And on the right hand side top of each work request, you see a yellow circle with a number in it, which means any kind of work orders, related work orders to the work request, if there is any. So 0 means there is no related work orders. Here you can see there is 7, and then here you can see there is 3, there is 1. So this is how it is depicted. You can create a new work request by clicking this one, new work request button. You can search all different kinds of work requests by open or closed requests, by the number itself, or by other parameters, where you can have the requester name as a filter, sources of all kinds of sources that the work request or the service request can start from. Any categories like water, sewer, street, power, facility, whatever it is. So all these categories you are seeing, any drop downs or any fields or columns, they can be totally configured and customized towards your use. There can be a rough location. There can be a GIS verified address location if you have proper GIS, where we can get nearby location. We get a lat long and match against available addresses against that lat long, or you can do by an address and a single address and a multi-address point. Any address is verified at 3 levels, depending on how good your GIS is, or if you don't have any GIS, we can default to the basic Google or Bing geolocator and get a hit against it. Single address typically works for a point, like a meter or some kind of a transformer location or a house location or a facility location, something like that, where the request is about. A multi-address typically has a from and a to, a start and an end point, which means it's a linear feature. So it can be a piece of street, a piece of pipeline, a piece of guardrail, a piece of power line or gas pipeline, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So if you're working on a linear feature, that has a from and a to address. Anything that you type in any kind of text box you see all over in the app, they are fuzzy logic supported like Google. So you type in only 3 letters and then you start getting hits from the database. So that makes it easy and faster. If you save it, the address will be saved in the database for that work request. Anyway, so that is true for names or any other field, like you start typing letters and it gives you all kinds of hits from the database. Anyway, so that was like the search. A new work request will start a new request for you, and you can edit the name whoever requested it. Now, this part, the name, edit, and add, is actually integrated with the CIS, the customer information system. So if you have a customer, that will pop up from the system, and if you don't, then we can add new and actually maintain the CIS right from this interface. A related work request is something like there is a power outage or there is a main break, a water main break, and streets are flooding or whatever. So many people are reporting the same problem, but you have one work request that starts everything, and then the others can be related to that mother work request so that you are not tracking different work requests, and all the work orders default to the mother work request. So everything keeps track by single number of work requests and then related work orders. You can classify something as urgent, that they will show up as red. You can always have a map view if you are more attuned to maps, and you can zoom in, zoom out, pan, whatever. You can look up all your work requests. They're also color coded on the map view. So reds are urgent and oranges are not urgent. These colors can be changed and configured according to whatever your needs are. A red one typically will come up in red, and that tells you the same thing that you saw in the list view, kind of a summary of the work request itself. And this is true for any of these. And then if you get into any of these, that will actually take you into the work request. So you can get into the request from the map view or from the list view. Now, when you are in the work request, you can look up all the details that was created, and then you can attach documentation. It supports PDF files and all that. You can attach pictures and videos. It all supports that. And you can start a new work order depending on what you are doing on that work request, or you can view existing work orders. And this has two work orders. Now from here, you can go into the work order and look up all the details of the work that has been done or going to be done. The blue stuff you cannot edit because they are either database driven or coming from the work request itself, who initiated the request, and then now it's a work order. Now you can always edit the division or assign to. So assign to is pretty handy because you might have to load balance your workload among available workers in the field. So if this guy is pretty busy and you look it up on the schedule and you don't want him to support this work order, you can always cross it off and assign this to somebody else. You can classify what kind of work it is, and all these lists are pretty customizable, whatever your needs are. You can actually assign activities or whatever. And same thing happens. I start typing 3 digits and it starts pulling out all kind of my work types that is in my database, and I can pick anyone from there. You can have a standby or not, scheduled work or not, special instructions, match address to the right location. So mostly work orders have to have a right address and location. Service request or work request may not, because if somebody, a citizen or some layman is reporting some problem like a signal light is out, or maybe a water hydrant has been hit, it's not working, or a pothole in the street, whatever it is, maintenance activity, they do not normally know the exact address. But when it is a work order and your department is doing it, you probably should know the exact address where the work is being done. GPS is a pretty cool feature here because it's mobile. It takes the GPS of your mobile device, and the accuracy of the GPS is as good as your mobile device itself, whatever accuracy you have. And this is good for capturing catch basins or hydrants, like you have 100 hydrants to flush, and you do not want to write work order for each hydrant, so you just capture the point of the hydrant, and one work order can cover 100 hydrants along a route. Same attachments and pictures. Pictures are pretty cool because you can attach pictures, and also you can have video files, and you can play the videos on a file on a job, which means this is pretty handy for inspections. Like if something is failing and you're in the field, you take a video and attach it on the work order itself, so nobody is emailing you or chasing you over phone or anything to know what is wrong. They can directly go to that work order, pull up the video, and see what failed and why it failed. This is also handy for your work request, pictures and videos when people are reporting problem. Now, you do not have to send any field or crew member to actually go and assess the problem and waste your manpower or time or money, because the picture or the video that comes in with the initial request already shows you the problem, and you save a lot of time and money. You can have contacts also, like who needs to be contacted and how is a follow-up or a status update or whatsoever. Add facilities, duplicate work order. Duplicate is basically your cyclic preventative maintenance work order, like you're working on a transformer or a pump, and you do maintenance on that every 3 months or every 6 months. So you write the work order only once, and you can duplicate it out, just change the date and change whoever it is assigned to, and you are done. Police case, if you have access to the police case database, you can do that. Like some work resulted from a police case, like a hit and run, or somebody is vandalizing public property or something, and there is a case number. So you can track that by case number and add it to your database. And if you have local jurisdiction clearance and availability of the database connect, we can do that. You advance to the next screen where you can add a lot more details on the work order itself. So start time, start date, completion, activity quantities, all that stuff, special things used, ICS and all that. You can add wastes, like if there is an oil spill that needs to be cleaned up or some other kind of stuff that you treat as wastes. You can clean that up. See, as soon as I choose something, everything comes from the database. All you need to do is add a quantity and add a deposit site, and you're done. Now, any database entry you see, you can select some and edit that right on spot from your mobile device and save it. Or you can select some and you don't need it, you can delete it. So basically, all your database management is right from your mobile device on a job. You can add meters if you're installing like water meters, like private irrigation, single family residential, duplex, whatever kind it is. Choose a meter size, choose a port, installation, first installation, what is the initial PSI, the pressure for that water meter. So you can do that. You can add unique items, like something you're using on one job and you will never use it again, or you do not stock that part normally. It's kind of unique for one job. You can add that so that you can track cost, labor, material on that. Equipments, like you have, say, an employee assigned an equipment, like I'm using a backhoe or something to dig up of some material or whatever. I can search by the asset description or by the asset number, doesn't matter. All I need to do is, I used it for 2 hours, and then add it on the job. So your equipment and cost of that and who used it for how many hours, everything is tracked on the work order itself. Rentals, if you're renting out some stuff, you can, of course, pick a rental and do what kind of item you did, what was the cost, was it insured or not, and add it to the work. And then follow-ups and facility, and you submit it. When you submit it, it actually goes to your supervisor's desk on his queue to get it approved. It may or may not be approved because the supervisor might see that on his mobile device or on his computer and say something was not done, and then the status is changed back to field, and the field worker gets it back with special instructions what needs to be done to actually complete it and resubmit it. Parts is a pretty cool thing. We also use this for part inventory. like annual inventory of parts or whatever. But anyway, so you type in 3 letters of the part number and it starts popping up all kinds of stuff from your device. So you select a part, all you do is basically quantity and then you're done, and you can add that part to your work order, and you can track whatever the part, how many parts, what's the cost and everything on the job. Now, another cool thing you see here is this scan button. So I am mimicking my mobile device on the computer, so you will not see it because it's not really my mobile device, it's just a mimic. But if you are on your mobile device, you can hit the scan and then your camera turns into a scanner. Now, this is not just a normal scanner app that you get. This is kind of a patented technology that we are patenting. And this can read any kind of 128-bit encrypted SSL barcoding that you may have, like a custom barcode system for your own organization. We can still read that. It doesn't matter. So we can read publicly available barcodes or your custom private barcodes. Doesn't matter. So anyway, so that helps pretty much, like you are taking parts from the shop or your bins or your wherever you store those and getting it onto the truck to going out for maintenance work. You scan them in and basically add them to the job, and you will track all the parts and the parts number, whatever is used on the job. And then if you do not use something, you come back, you can always select that part and say, oh, I checked out 2, but I actually used 1. So you save that edit and it edits your database, how many were used on the job, how many were checked back to the shop. And in the background, it's also integrated with inventory control. So basically, say a specific type of part, if it gets under a threshold, like only 5 left or something, the procurement department can get an email, and if you are set up directly with a supplier, PO can be written directly to the supplier to replenish more stock. So all this background integration is already inbuilt. We have the web services to do that with the other systems. Now, once you submit, you go back out in the system, and then the work order is on your supervisor's desk to get approved. On any page, you can hit the home button on the top right, and it takes you back to the home screen from where you can start the stuff. Now, you can also get into the work order from the work order itself. We went to the work request and then went into the work order, like a related work order to the work request, but you can also start from the home page using the work order button and get into the listing of the work order. It works the same way. There is a preliminary listing of work orders, all kinds of work orders, and then there is a sort view and a map view and all that. You can get into the work order from this view also. And anyway, you're seeing this TMS, which is a timesheet button. So when you go to the time, so the time card system is also integrated with the work order system. So when you hit that, the time card knows which job you are coming from, what work order. So it takes care of that work order and the activity number and everything, and you cannot change it because you came from that job. All you need to do is pretty much put in the hours, and you are already logged in. It knows the user ID, employee number, everything, because you logged in the system. So you put in your hours and add it to your day, and your hours are logged. You can also get to the time card system from the home screen. So when you go from the home screen, you get a current pay period, like 7/16 to 7/31, the second half of July. The pay period is like 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Again, this can be configured to 1 week or 1 month or whatever is the pay period, doesn't matter. You choose the day you are on, and then you can also, this time if you're going from the home page, it doesn't pull the work order number because it doesn't know what work order number you're working on. You just come from the home page. And maybe there is no work order, you are just working on some other hour type. So basically, you can have a vacation pay, or you can have sick leaves or whatever. So basically, you can be sick, you can be home, or you can be on vacation. But this whole system, as long as you're connected to a Wi-Fi or a data connection on your mobile device, you can use the system from wherever you are. It doesn't matter. The last quick thing I will show is the user module, and you can search and create and delete and archive users, pick a user, and then get them a different level. So there are 3 different levels: user, power, admin, and all that. So depending on what level they are in, when they log in, they get to see all these modules. So everybody doesn't see all the modules. So the field crew mostly see the 3 modules: the request, work order, and time card. And the managers see more, like all these, and then dashboards, reports, or inventory, or inspectors see inspection, work request, work order, time card. The admin sees all the modules, including the user module, so that they can manage the users and give access to the system depending on the role of the user. So this is kind of a nutshell what this app does.